One.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to Fridays with SLC. Denny and I are back, and we've got a special guest for you this week. You want to say hey, Allie?
You gonna wave?
This is Miss Allie. She's the star of the show today. She usually is.
Yeah.
She's pretty good. Sometimes she's a little shy. Sometimes she's not.
That bottom looks pretty tasty,
I
Allie.
think she's trying to eat that. Are you hungry?
Well, anyway, this is Tony's daughter. She's joining us today. She's here in the studio. She brought her horse, and she's just having a good old time hanging out with us. So we'll see how long she lasts. Well, Denny, what are we doing today?
Well, we've got Kevin is an artist, and in the years past, he has done several products that have been laying around, hanging around, just collecting dust and
Literally.
and starting to dry and age and get dirty.
That's right. So we've been doing some cleaning here throughout the shop, throughout the store, and the office and I were cleaning out Kevin's cubby that he's lived in the whole time here at Springfield Leather. And so we found a couple of these products just sitting on the shelf, and I was like, Denny, we should do a little restoration video to show you guys how you can clean up some of that old leather stuff that your grandpa or grandma or aunts or uncles have left up in their attic for years, and some stuff that just really needs some love.
Yeah.
So,
and you know, some of this stuff, it's leather, and once it gets so dry, you can never make it pliable and usable really again, but you can clean it up and make it look pretty nice.
Right.
And that's what we're really after. This is a set of bags. I believe they were probably motorcycle bags, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what it kind of looks like.
But they've pretty well dried out. If you can see here, I don't know if you can see, but the straps are so dried that they've started to check, and we can't really help those. You know, it would.
We could replace them if you like. If you still wanted to use the bag,
that
maybe.
would ruin the antiquity.
That's true. So we're just gonna clean them up.
Yeah, we're gonna try and clean them up. We'll do what we can with them. We can help them, but we can't fix them.
You want to try to hold it over that overhead camera? Hold it up a little bit and see if we can see it.
Oh yeah. See how these straps are starting to. What do you call it?
Check.
Check.
Yeah.
I would have just said crack.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay.
Same thing. Means the same thing.
So many words.
So we've got that. We've got a nice clock. Now, Kevin didn't make this. I was reading on
No,
the back.
this is from Hector and O'Kelly Fountain. So made in 2014.
Yeah, and basically it's just dusty. You know, it's a clock. It doesn't get a lot of wear and tear.
No, it's just pretty dusty.
But we'll try and help that a little bit.
Yep, and that's been painted.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see, what you should use or what you shouldn't use on some paint. We've got this little lovely horse.
Embossed.
Several layers.
Yes.
There's 1, 2, 3 different layers here of leather.
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering how to emboss things and make it stand out like that. Kevin did this. I mean, you can see on the back. There again, can we look at this from the top? You can see there's the actual outline of the horse here, and then he's got another heavy piece of leather here. And if you look on the front, you can see how it's
That outline is just putting that
actually
horse head
embossed.
up, right?
Yes, yes, that's what he used that for. Yeah.
Okay. So he's got quite a bit of discoloration. You guys can see that a lot better, actually, from the overhead.
And we probably won't be able to get rid of the discoloration, but maybe we can kind of blend it in a little bit.
For sure. We'll see what we can do. And then we've got horse number 2. The scooch
Yeah.
this way.
That's another embossed piece that he did, which is even more so than the first one, but it's really nice.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of got some dirt on here.
Yeah, and it's got some places down here where the finish has actually been, I don't know, I guess you would call it corroded, actually.
Yeah.
But there again, we'll clean this up. We aren't restorers of fine art by any means,
Please don't take this to your really expensive whatever you have.
You really don't have any guarantees what anything we do today is going to do to your leather. It's what we would do ourselves, though.
Yeah.
And Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Hopefully it won't ruin anything. You know, that's the whole point.
Well, then, did you want to kind of talk about some of the items we've got up here?
Yeah, we've got several different kinds of cleaners and conditioner. This is a Lexol cleaner and a Lexol conditioner. After we go over all this stuff and clean it as well as we can, we want to go back and condition it again.
For sure.
You know, because that's like these straps on these bags, you know, that's what they need more than anything is a good conditioner.
Yep.
You know, it adds lubrication to the leather fibers. Then we have this is a suede and nubuck cleaner. You know, we don't have any suede products up here, but if you are trying to clean up a piece of suede, you want to use something like that. The problem with cleaning suede most of the time is whatever you put on it's going to lay the nap down.
Yep, and that means you got to brush it back up.
Yeah, and we've got a little brush kit here to brush it up, and a little eraser. A lot of stuff you can clean without any kind of liquid. A lot of suede you can. Actually, the North American Indians used to use sand to clean their buckskin. Yeah.
Interesting.
And it worked pretty well. It's not going to take grease or an actual oil stain out, but it will get a lot of the dirt out.
Okay.
Then we've got this is just a top finish. This is my favorite stuff in the world is Masters Quick Shine. And it's after you've got everything all cleaned up, then you can go back over and put a top coat, a finish on it. This is a liquid glycerin saddle soap. We also sell a solid bar of glycerin saddle soap, right, which I use a lot to burnish edges with. And you can use it to clean with too, but the liquid has already got water in it. It just takes all the work out.
Makes it easier.
Yeah. Here we've got a handy bottle of water.
We'll move that to the end.
And this is a deglazer made by Phoebings. It works a lot like fingernail polish remover does. It will soften the finish that you've got on your leather and let you wipe the old finish off.
Yeah, so it's hard to get down into if you're working with something that kind of partially still finished, but you really want to take the rest of that finish off, either if you want to re-dye it or restain it of some sort, you have to get all that finish off. So that's where you would use the deglazer on your products there.
Yeah, and I've done stuff before that I've used the wrong color of antique paste on it, say, and I wanted to change that and make it darker, but I already had a finish on it. I'd already used my favorite stuff here and put that finish on, but you can take that finish back off and it will take most of your antique paste or whatever you've got on there. I think it'll even remove acrylic paint if I'm not mistaken.
It probably will. Will. It removes fingernail polish, which is acrylic, right?
Yeah.
So I assume the paint would come off.
The only thing you've got to realize when you do this stuff, everything you do is going to make your leather darker. You can never lighten it back up. So that's the one drawback to anything you do. This is Bic 1 leather cleaner. We've also got a Bic 1 conditioner. I don't think I brought it. Or Bic 4.
Yeah.
I don't think I brought any of that in with me, but it's another cleaner and conditioner, and we use a lot of that here in our shop. This is oxalic acid. It comes in actually a powdered form.
Yeah, we sell little 1 ounce.
Yeah.
Little 1 ounce powdered packets.
And you can just mix one of those packets in a soda pop bottle. That's what I do. Fill it up with water. Hopefully we can show you how that works. And then this is a suede and nubuck cleaning kit that we sell. And it's made exclusively for that suede that you lay the nap down on every time you want to get some dirt or a stain off of it, but it helps you keep the nap.
Yeah, and this is just a kind of a sampling of all of the different kind of cleaners and conditioners that we stock and sell here. There are probably at least twice as many as this. And so each one kind of has their place. We're just going to, go over a couple of things that we kind of like to use or that Denny likes to use whenever he's doing stuff. But like I know Black Rock is a pretty good cleaner conditioner for things that have gotten real bad.
Everybody has a favorite.
Everybody's got a favorite. Just kind of keep that in mind.
You're all going to have a neighbor or a cousin or an uncle who uses something and swears by it. So that's probably what you're going to use, and that's fine.
That's right.
That's fine. But anyway, what should we start off with today
Well, I don't know,
as
Denny.
far as cleaning?
Let's do these bags.
All right.
I feel like they're gonna need more time than anything.
Yeah.
We've got, Wonder here is asking about reconditioning old furs. I think you should take it to a service probably that does
Yeah.
fur.
Yeah, because for the worst problem you're gonna have with that is the hairs will want to slip off, and if you aren't careful, you'll slip it all off.
Yeah, we've got, like, here in Springfield, there's a place up the road. Honestly, sometimes I'm not sure that they're still in business, but everything looks upkept, but there's like this fur storage and restoration place. If you really got some nice furs that really need some treatment, I would search out kind of a local service that specializes in that.
Yeah, a furrier.
A furrier.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what they specialize in. Fur has always been a complicated deal, and it's always been very expensive too.
Yes.
That's why you should have someone that knows what they're doing.
I mean, if you just have like a $5 rabbit pelt from our retail floor, then maybe just buy a new one if it's gotten to the point where it's cracking and dry and not happy anymore. But could you wash it? I don't know, guys.
Really?
We sell some furs. We don't do a lot with furs here.
You know, the hair on cowhide and stuff that we sell, you can actually just vacuum it, run over it with a vacuum cleaner, or use
On the hardwood setting, so that bristles aren't turning.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to scrub the hair off of it or anything.
Sometimes I've recommended that if you do get a little stain on it, like take some dog shampoo and just kind of like spot clean, or maybe like Dawn dish soap is like the cleaner of all cleaners. I don't know, that's what their commercial says. But you might be able to clean some grease off of your
And if
cowhide.
if your cowhide or your fur is really stiff and you're wanting to try and soften it up, maybe do whatever you're going to do on the back of it.
Yeah.
Probably saddle soap will be your best bet on the back of a piece of fur.
Okay.
But-
saddle soap.
Don't do this at home. Okay, I've undone all the straps and taken these two back straps off. And let's just start with the back straps. I'm gonna take this.
What are we gonna do? Hey, Allie, do you want to help us condition some of these straps?
Okay, let's pull your sleeves up.
Okay, we're gonna get Allie's help here. Devin wants to know, he wants to include a small sample size of conditioner, cleaner with his leather goods. What would we suggest?
You know what I would suggest?
Saddle soap.
Saddle soap. Saddle soap is a cure-all. It's made for leather. Now, if you'll notice, I'm getting this really wet and
Yeah.
sloppy.
Yeah, you see what he's doing there? We're gonna let you do the next one, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so watch him real good.
See how I'm doing that? And that's gonna soften the leather up some because it will add some moisture to the interior fibers. You know, if this has got a real heavy finish on it, you might not get through too much. You might need to maybe reglaze it. I don't think I would. Okay, but if you'll notice, that did soften it up considerably.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna spray some more of this stuff on, and you wanna do this next one, Allie? There you go. Just wipe it on there. There you go. That's perfect.
It smells like floor cleaner. Like, what is that? Not Minwax. Is it Minwax?
Mop and
be.
glow.
Maybe it's a Mop and Glow, guys.
Could be. Okay, now let's just work on the bag itself.
Okay.
And be liberal with this stuff. You know, you aren't trying to not put it on there. You're trying to get it on there. And you know, it's this. The rule of thumb goes that if you get part of it wet, get the whole thing wet.
That's right.
Because if you've got spots on it, it's only going to get worse.
You're just gonna put more spots on it. How you doing over there, Allie? Coming along? Yeah.
And what this glycerin saddle soap is going to do more than anything is
them
just
warm.
clean this leather.
Here we go. Keep going. Maybe turn
And
it over and rub the other side too.
I use a piece of
There you go.
sheepskin because the sheepskin actually has a little bristly little fur on it, and it'll get down in a lot of cracks and crevices that you couldn't get down in with just say a sponge or a piece of cloth. Yeah. But you can already see that it's going to brighten this up considerably. And if you all are afraid of getting dirty, you probably ought to try a different project. Because this will get you dirty.
You could wear some gloves if you wanted, but you're just gonna clean and condition your hands.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're just untanned leather, guys.
Yeah. Saddle soap is good for your hands.
What do you think about that, Denny?
Great. Great job, Allie. And if you can see here, this is kind of creating streaks. And what that is, there's a finish on part of this, and part of it, the finish is kind of worn through.
Yeah.
And that's where the liquid is starting to penetrate. But I think when it dries, it will all even back out. You know what?
Kind of looks kind of cool. Well, yeah, even on the front here, it's starting to even out.
Yeah. And like we said to begin with, you could probably deglaze this, but this, this has got a lot of different colors to it, and
it's been airbrushed around the perimeter, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of what looks like could have happened.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah. But this, when this liquid actually penetrates, it's going to darken the leather a lot.
Yeah.
But it will lighten back up.
When it dries.
It will never lighten up as much as it was. Anytime you put liquid on a piece of leather, it's going to darken it to an extent. There's probably a lot of people who are going to disagree with me. That's okay. That's okay. Everybody does what they think is right, and that's the way it ought to be.
So I was just going to ask you, so you're going to do the inside too? Get that the back of the leather a little bit?
Yeah, just the part that I can reach. I'll reach up in there and just kind of give it a lick and a promise. I'm sure not going to work on it as much as I do the outside.
Oh, here we go. Let's get some more on here for you. There we go. Okay. Scrub away.
Okay, now I'm not going to do this other bag right now. We'll go on to a different project because we need to let this kind of
and then we
dry
can kind of
back
have a little
out.
bit of a before and after.
Yeah.
We'll have a comparison.
Yeah.
Allie already started on your other straps to the back.
That's okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
She got
Then you'll have to do it anyways after the video. When using sheepskin, can you watch the sheepskin
Yes.
clean to use it again?
It depends on what product you're using. If
Okay.
you're using an oily product, it probably won't wash out.
Sure.
But saddle soap is great. This will clean, look almost like new.
You're
It
just
looks
cleaning
better
that
than
skin.
new. Yeah. If you're using like a dye on your sheepskin, you can't get that out. But a lot of times, especially when I was using antique paste to finish a product, yeah, after you get done and you use it to wipe off all the excess, you can actually clip that off and you'll have a clean sheepskin underneath. And you can use
Or
it
then he
again.
just leaves it inside the antique paste and then it's ready to go later.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right, let's set that aside. Well, let's see what we've done here.
Ooh-wee.
It gave it kind of a different color, but like I said, when this all dries, and it'll probably be tomorrow before it's actually dry.
Sure.
But later on today,
Yeah.
I'm going to go back over it with some paste saddle soap, and then I'll go over it with I'll give it a coat of the Master's Quick Shine just to kind of doll it back up a little bit. Okay, let's try this horse. What do you think?
Let's give it a shot. It still looks pretty shiny.
It is shiny, but it's got a lot of dirt and grit and
Yeah.
stuff in it. So I'm going to get this little brush out.
Let's hear.
This is a fairly soft bristled brush, so we aren't gonna put we aren't really gonna scrub on it. We're just gonna use it to get down in all the little cracks and things like that. First, I'm just gonna kind of rub this around. And just a good wiping down will help this kind of stuff more than anything. But now let's take this brush. You see, in all the little tool cut and everything,
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
lot of grit and grime and just aged dirt.
So it looks like razor blades here. If you watch the video of somebody restoring a bicycle seat that was really dried and cracked, and they soaked it in a mixture of water and gelatin.
How'd that work?
Yeah. I guess maybe link us to the video, razor blades. We can see what happened.
Yeah, he was saying it got its strength back.
Say what?
He said it got its strength, trying to get its strength back.
Well, good.
I am curious what that means, because you can't really make the cracks go away. I mean, you can seal over them to a certain extent, but
Yeah, the thing is, leather is a series of fibers that are more or less woven together, and when they get too dry, and then you bend them and work them around, they'll break. And once they've broken, you can't heal that back up.
Yeah.
You know?
you're done. Is Dr. Jackson's Hide Rejuvenator similar to saddle soap?
Probably, it's probably more similar to that Lexol
The
cleaner. And maybe conditioner. I don't know. I've never used it, but I'm sure it's a product that will work, you know. But let's look at this horse. It came out pretty nice. Can we see it? I mean, we've still got that line there, and that was either where some liquid had gotten on it or something was on top of it, you know, one side or the other, and discolored it. But it looks pretty darn good, I think.
Yeah, it looks a lot fresher than it did.
Yeah. Let's put it aside.
Okay. Time for horse number 2.
Yeah, let's do horse number 2.
Okay.
And this had a frame on it, which,
It's also mounted to this weird piece of carpet stuff.
yeah, really nice carpet.
Don't let him have all the fun.
Yeah, okay. Let me squirt some of this stuff on here and you rub this down, okay? You do that, Ellie?
You like horses, don't you?
Clean that horse up now.
That horse has socks on it.
Scrub,
Yeah.
scrub, scrub. There you
There
go.
you go. Yeah, that's the way to
Let's
do it.
hear. Denny, Joshua. Oh, she knows what she's doing. Giving that horse a bath.
He said, well, if Denny can do it, I could sure do it.
So Joshua asked, since the antique sits on top,
Yes, yes.
yes.
Do you risk removing part of the antique? And yes, you do. You have to be pretty gentle with it, but still, if it's dry, if it's got a top coat on it, I wouldn't remove that top coat like with a deglazer. I
Right.
would not, but I would use saddle soap or some other cleaner and just be gentle. Use a piece of sheepskin on it and don't scrub it, you know, just wipe on it till you get all the dirt off.
Well, at some point you kind of, depending on how old the item is, a lot of that may have either worn away or it just might be kind of time to totally refreshen it. So like if you're just conditioning something that is maybe just a year or two old, yeah, it doesn't need to go through maybe the extremes of these items that have been sitting around for 5 or 10 years.
Right. Plus the fact, when I was in Wyoming, we did a lot of antiquing on saddles. We used antique paste, and every once in a while, someone would bring their saddle in that they'd had for several years or however long, and had been pretty well used, and said, "I need you to clean this up and recondition it for me." And we would actually deglaze it and get everything we could off of it, clean it up really well, and then re-antique it.
Yeah.
Go over it with the antique again, and then put a new top coat on it. And it worked out well. Actually, you get more color the second time around than you do the first time around because you've opened up all the pores in the leather, and It accepts that stuff.
Well, speaking of opening up the pores, should we talk about the oxalic acid?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Let me move this over here a little closer to you.
And you keep rubbing.
Everyone asks about oxalic acid and will it clean up this and will it clean up that? And the answer is it'll clean up some stuff and it won't other stuff. It won't take out an oil stain or an actual dye color. It won't remove that. It won't deglaze something. But if you've got like a metal mark or, let me see, I found one piece. This piece of leather, can you show us this, Tony? It's got a streak right here, and I believe that is a metal stain. Even at the tannery, a lot of times when they run this leather through a splitter, it'll have some moisture in it, and the leather will actually pick up some fine metal particles off of their equipment, and it will leave a stain here and there. A lot of times when you're tooling, especially like if you're using a swivel knife and if you strop it, you'll get those little fine metal particles on your hands, and if they're the least bit damp, you know, and you touch the leather and it's damp, all of a sudden you've got a blue stain on there. But that's what this oxalic acid will clean off. I've got a little, yeah.
There we go.
This is the one I just keep the same piece of sheepskin and use it over and over with this oxalic acid. But like I said, when you use that one little, it's a one ounce. A 1 ounce packet in about a 16 ounce bottle. And then you've got to get the whole thing wet. And there again, don't be shy, you know, get the thing wet.
And one thing to know about the oxalic acid is you only want to use it when you're done with your tooling.
Yes.
Because once you put it on there, it kind of hardens up the top, or
it makes it rubbery and kind of catchy feeling.
Yeah, so you want to make sure all of your tooling is done, and this is what you do before you start your oiling and dyeing process.
Yeah, if you do a lot of projects, you can use this every time just before you get ready to dye. You know, after you're all done with your tooling, and you even after you've oiled a lot of times, you can still use it. But it's best if you use it while the leather is still raw. But you can see here where it completely took that stain off. It's wetter right there where that stain was, but when it dries out, you won't even see that.
I think the stain was right here.
Okay, there.
But it's
wetter right here, though. Yeah, but it took that stain off.
Yep.
But we'll leave that over here too, and it'll dry a little bit while we're finishing up here.
We were trying to make a piece that had stains on it to begin with.
I couldn't stain it to save my life.
Yeah, but this, clamp marks.
Yeah, this is a piece when they're tanning this leather after they get the hides out of the tanning vats, they'll hang them up. And they use a clamp all the way around. Yeah, every so often, all the way around to clamp it and stretch it out.
Each one of these little scrap pieces has a clamp mark on it.
Yeah. And this probably isn't something desirable that you'd want to use on your project, but it's got that stain on it. So I'm going to see if it'll put this oxalic acid to clean that off.
Will it remove pen?
I doubt it.
We had a question.
No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Why don't we just show?
Let's see here. Devin asks, how often should I suggest to my customers to recondition and oil products?
Unless they get it just completely soaking wet, probably once a year. And it depends on the climate you live in too. Like if you live in Arizona or New Mexico or something where it's very, very dry, a couple of times a year probably. Or anytime your leather starts to feel dry and
stiff.
Oil it, Another thing too, saddle soap. If you saddle soap it, if you want to do something to a piece of leather, put saddle soap on it, because you can never put too much of that on it.
Okay.
And I'm just being serious. Oil, you can over oil a piece of leather. You can saturate it, and then it just oil and greasy feeling for the rest of the time, you know.
Man, saddle soap just makes things feel good.
Yeah, it just makes it feel better. It will actually make it more supple every time you use it.
Yeah, so depending, like with use and stuff, it'll depend on the item that you've made, what you've made it out of. Like if you sell like an apron with a piece of oil tan, like you're probably not going to need to be oiled and refreshed.
Don't ever oil an oil tan leather.
Yeah.
It's already got oil in it. Oil does not dry out.
We had a comment kind of if you were going to oil something or condition it and then let it sit and then maybe condition it again to get it to soak all in instead of trying to get it to soak all in at once.
Clean it, get it cleaned, let it dry back out, then put a light but even coat of oil all over it, and then condition it on top of that.
Yeah.
You know, let the oil set for a couple hours and then put your conditioner on. And if you want to put 2 coats of conditioner on, that's probably not going to hurt it. It'll be like the saddle soap. You probably can't put too much on.
Yeah, sometimes if I'm like my winter boots or something, once winter is over and I'm ready to get them cleaned up for storage, especially something sitting around for a long time where it's just going to dry out because it hasn't been in use, you know, get everything ready, put a couple of I like to use that snowproof or
Yeah, snowproof.
snowproof
Yeah.
on my winter leather boots, and I'll put a couple coats on them over the course of a few days before I put them into storage for the summer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's great stuff. You know, the thing to remember, just don't over oil it, but you do oil it every once in a while. If you get it good and wet, after it dries out, then put some more oil in it, but then condition it. Put a conditioner on the top of it.
yeah. So let's see here.
Allie, you have done a wonderful job here. I want you guys to see what she's done. That looks great, that picture. You can see down here, this picture has a top coat on it also, and some of it has started to flake off down here and up here on the mountains in the sky. But that adds a little character to the picture, I think.
Yeah.
And if we deglazed it, it would pretty much ruin the whole idea of it. And I think it's a good idea to leave it just like it is.
It'll just help keep it for another few years to come so that it's not getting worse. You still can enjoy your picture. It's still got the age and the character to it. And really that's like, you want to make sure that it doesn't get worse over time.
Yeah.
So that's what this is.
Yeah, and after this sets for a few minutes, when we get ready to go here, I'm going to go over it with a top coat. Our Masters Quick Shine, we'll go over it with that top coat, and that'll be a protection that it gets.
We'll step outside and do our quick shine.
Yeah.
We have a door right here. We could do
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Now then, we've got a little different deal here since we've got to,
So our little clock has some paint on it.
yeah.
So we have to be careful. Plus it's got the little hands. I guess could we unscrew that if we wanted to?
Yeah, I think we can take the hands off. How will we know what time it is?
I don't think it's running anyways. You have a watch on.
Yes.
We have cell phones these days. They tell us everything.
Okay, now I'm going to use this same piece of sheepskin because it's not too awful dirty, but I'm going to be
Just a little bit.
pretty ginger with this.
Okay.
Man,
Woo!
right. Yeah,
Hey guys, you see that? It's just liven it up.
this is definitely something we don't want to take the color off of.
So Denny, you know what I'm learning today?
What's that?
It's just more saddle soap.
More saddle. Well, they call it soap because it is a cleaner. You can wash your hands with this stuff.
Maybe that'll help my skin. Cleans, preserves, and restores. Yeah, no, I mean, I've always, anytime anybody comes to me and they're like, what should I do with this? I just tell them, the paste saddle soap, because that's what you always told me. But now we can just be like, as long as you've got the glycerin saddle soap and the paste saddle soap, those two items together, it looks like you can cover many sins.
Now this bag and these straps, I will go over those with the paste saddle soap when we're all done.
Okay.
But like this stuff, there's not much need to because it's
You just need to get the dirt off,
Yeah.
really.
What I'm seeing is we brought all this other stuff to fill up the table and then moved it out of the way to use the saddle soap.
Well, yeah, we can't use all the products.
And everything's
one
got its
time.
place.
Yeah. I mean, this is, like we said, everybody has their preference and that's fine because their uncle, their aunt, their cousins, all going to tell them something different, especially their neighbor.
I do really like Lexol's new packaging. They kind of updated their packaging here a year or so ago, and it's snazzy looking.
It's got a pretty bottle, yeah.
Yeah, thank
Buy
you.
that, it's got a pretty bottle.
That looks good. That looks good. I guess I will say, so kind of one thing that we talk about when people walk in on retail and they want to condition some sort of a clothing or their boots or their shoes, that kind of a situation. We do like to let them know that Lexol is a bit more of an extreme conditioner than the Bic products are. And so Bic is kind of their whole claim to things, and why we really like to suggest Bic the most is because they won't darken nearly as much. It will still darken slightly, but it doesn't darken as much as the Lexol products do whenever you're cleaning and conditioning with those. So that's just, I don't know,
Yeah,
kind of a thing.
yeah. And, you know, people all the time are saying, what do I do to my truck seat or my car seat, you know, and the Bic product really
Bic's
works
good.
good. We've suggested a lot,
Yeah.
and we've never had any complaints about it, so.
And we do also sell a UV conditioner. I think that's a Phoebe's product as well, the UV conditioner for things that are going to be sitting in the sun. So if you've got a chair that tends to sit in the sun and it's starting to fade out, you can kind of use this UV conditioner on that to help prevent some of that sun fade that you're getting, which would also be applicable in the car situation, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well,
look at that.
I'll tell you what, it's time for me to go outside and spray something.
Okay, he's going to go spray some quick shine.
I'm gonna do this horse picture that Allie did, because look at this right now. I mean, it's got a pretty good sheen to it, but after I spray it, it'll even be more so.
Couple little stuff left over. Here you go.
Yeah. You don't want to do this while it's just soaking wet, you know, but this has been done a few minutes and it'll be fine. I'll be right back. Maybe.
Maybe.
I might just
He
keep.
might just keep going. Got a nice alley back there. Take a little stroll around the block. Go to Casey's. It's a good time. Let's see here. Michael, when Denny comes back from spraying that, we'll look at your bridle situation. And, okay, so Razor Blade said that the gelatin was similar to the hide glue, so it helps those fibers to kind of meld back together a little bit. We haven't really tried that here. Might be something that we look into. Just to see. I know a ton of people will come in and they call and they say, my dog got on the couch and his nail ripped a big hole in it. Like, how can I fix that? And there's just not a great way to really fix a huge tear in upholstery leather. You can kind of try to patch it from the back and line that up as much as possible, and then put like a new acrylic coating on over the top to kind of hide that rip or that tear. But it's pretty extensive. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks really good. Now I'm going to let this sit for a minute, but I'm going to show you guys something that we can do with the paste saddle soap.
Okay.
If this gets too shiny, too much of a plastic look to it, I can tone that down with the paste saddle soap. It'll just kind of give it a satin look instead of that real.
I call it a velvety texture. It's got like
Yeah.
this velvety texture to it that's just really nice. Let's see here.
But anyway, let's set this aside.
Denny, Michael was cleaning and repairing some bridles, and some of the leather on one piece was as hard as a rock. He replaced it, but was there anything else that he could have done that Lexol didn't work?
I've heard of people saying that they've soaked the leather and actually saturated it with water, left it in the water long enough to get it just spongy wet, and then let it start drying back out and put some oil of some sort on it as it's drying out, and they said it'll keep it soft, but I've never really had much luck with that myself. Most of the time when it's that hard, it's because those fibers are dead, you know, they've dried out so much that they're ready to break. I would venture to say if you tried to bend it, those pieces would
crack in
crack.
half.
Yeah. Sorry.
I've not really used the four-way care too much. Have you? The Phoebe's four-way care?
No, I haven't.
No.
I haven't.
We don't have anything for you there, Mike.
All right, how do I make the sheepskin ready? It seems to leave a lot of hair behind. I'll show you right now.
You got your scissors.
I got my scissors. Have you got a trash can?
No, they don't have that here.
I do have a trash can.
Oh, I think he's got a little one too. Oh, it's full of trash.
That's
guys.
all right. I just, if you notice here, I'm just pulling the loose hair off. Generally, when you cut a piece, you cut through the hair on the edge. So I pull that loose hair off.
Here, I'll hold it here, that way you can.
Okay.
Kind of-
Then I'll take and I'll just clip it off. Boy, I didn't bring a sharp pair of scissors.
You're just giving it a haircut.
I'm just giving it a haircut. Most of this this shearling that we buy is made for the saddle industry, and it's about 3/4 to 1 inch length. They'll clip it off, when they tan it, to an even length, but that's about how much they leave. And I like to cut about half of that off.
You really just want that dense part at the very base.
Yeah, if you leave it full length, it just kind of wads up, and
It just absorbs all your product and then none of it really goes onto your stuff.
then after I clip it, I'll just take the scissors and whack it like that, and you can see little pieces of that.
I can see them.
Can breathe
But
it.
anyway, then that's ready to use.
Yeah. So Denny preps a lot of those at once. So
Yeah.
he'll prep himself a little basket of shearling for the week or
Yeah, and
whatever.
then everyone says, I need a piece of sheepskin.
And we
I'll
steal
go
Denny's.
by my bench and I will have none. All right.
Okay. Well, do you want to show them how to deglaze if they need to do that?
Okay, what should we, oh yeah.
Yeah, we brought some coasters.
Here's the coaster that we did a while back. Let's deglaze it. If you notice, all the
Nice.
shiny on it, and this has been antique. So let's see what happens when we deglaze it. And there again, I'm just using a piece of sheepskin. And this will soften that finish. And if you see that sheepskin, that's that finish and part of that antiquing that came off.
Yep.
I'm gonna use a clean spot here and do that again.
You're putting quite a bit on there.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. When you're doing this stuff, don't try to make it think you're doing it.
Really do it.
Make it realize you're doing it.
Well, it definitely is soaking it up at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. All right, now I'm gonna use a clean piece and see if I'm still getting some off of it. Nope, I pretty much got it off.
Well, that sure does smell like fingernail polish remover.
Yeah, it does. It's got a lot of acetone in it, but it's also formulated for the leather itself. Acetone will work. Some people use it, but this has some other ingredients in it too that's supposedly not harmful to the leather.
So would you want to let that dry pretty well before you start doing stuff?
You want to let it dry 100%.
100%. Okay. And
Yeah,
then,
every time you do something, you should let it dry before you go to the next step.
Okay.
Because people all the time are saying, well, I got this powdery stuff on it, or it stayed sticky after I did this, because they didn't let one step dry before they started another. But,
please use this in a well-ventilated area.
yes,
Woo!
she likes it.
Anyways, so there's that. So let it dry, and then really honestly, this is drying out your leather a lot. Once it, this is acetone, it's soaking in, it's gonna dry that up. So you really wanna make sure that you restore that moisture again before you start refinishing with other things.
Yeah, put a conditioner of some sort back on it.
Yeah.
This, I would go over and antique it again.
Right.
But I would put a top coat on it, a clear coat, before I did the antiquing.
Sure.
Condition it, put that top coat on it, antique it, and then put another top coat
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So we've had a lot of people, and I'll just kind of bring this up because probably one of the most asked questions for phone calls or people on retail is, I've got this old set of furniture that the finish has been coming off, so now there's these worn spots, where your head lays on the back of the couch or where you sit or where your arms are. The finish is worn off and now the color is, lightening or whatever in those areas, and they kind of want to refinish it. That's not an easy job. It's not a quick job. You can't just put dye back on it. Now you could just recondition it. Like if you wanted to come in, get a conditioner, or maybe even buy a new finisher, right? Like you could
Right.
just put a finish on it. But if you actually want to change the color or update the color of your couch, number one, you can never go lighter than what it already is. And number two, you have to remove all of the finish before you start dyeing from the whole thing. Because if you get dye on top of the finish that's already there, or you're trying to even out, like if you try to re-dye something, obviously you can't just dye this one section and have everything look okay. Like it's never going to match completely. And so I've had a couple of customers on retail that were successful, but it took them months. They went through gallons of acetone.
Yeah.
And then gallons of dye, conditioner, and finish to redo it. So it's definitely, it could be done if you have the patience and the capabilities to do that, but it's usually not something that we recommend.
Yeah. And another thing too to keep in mind is a lot of that leather, so-called leather furniture,
It's vinyl.
Vinyl, unborn naugahyde we used to call it, or it's reconstituted leather.
Yeah.
Actually, leather dust that they compress and make a leather patty, like a chicken.
Oh, leather patty. Oh gosh. Yeah, so I guess weigh out if it's worth it. If you've got a vinyl couch, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
On doing
just
that.
clean it. Just clean it.
Yeah, unless if you're looking at a $6,000 to $10,000 leather sofa that is actually real leather, then you might go through all that trouble. But otherwise, just live with it.
Yeah.
Let's hear.
Well, Allie, what does that say up there?
That's too long a word for her to be able to read.
Well, it's too long for me.
Apparently, Allie is a little bit more chatty on a little cooking show that Tony and his daughters put together. Do you like to cook with your dad? Yeah. Do you have a little show where you do that? What do you make?
What's the last thing you made, Dee? Did you like it?
We made French toast,
Oh, man.
Where's
some
mine?
granola,
Boy.
the corn. I think that was your favorite. Oh, we made ranch dressing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want you guys to look at the apron this girl has on.
It goes all the way down to her toes.
Stand on the table.
Floor length.
Whee! Look
Nice.
how cute that is.
Now we can't see your face. Head down so we can see your
Yeah,
face.
hunker down, Allie.
I like it.
They were out of school today because they started spring break.
All right.
Oh, nice. I wish I got one of those still.
Yeah.
Being an adult's no fun. Okay, so this is okay. So what do we want to go back to a bag, or are we gonna?
Let's tone this gloss down on this
Okay.
piece
So
of
our
art.
quick shine has dried.
Yeah.
I don't know. I took all your things. I think this is that.
I think this one's probably pretty good. See, this was one that I'd used for quite a bit. I clipped all the dirty part off of it.
And he just keeps it in there. He just keeps his and it's good to go.
But I'm not gonna get a whole lot on here, but I'm just gonna go over this.
Now that we cleared out that shelf in the office, now we have actually a spot to hang these on the wall.
Yeah. But see how it just tones that gloss down?
Oh, guys, I don't know if you can see that. Kevin did this in 1982. He's got a little signature with a date on it.
Kevin is quite the artist. He's got a fish out there that the gills are open. You can actually see the gills inside.
He's carved
this
them off
fish.
off the leather to where they stand out. It's pretty incredible.
I myself have never been a figure carver, and I don't pretend to be, because I'm not all that artistic.
Yeah, no, that looks good, didn't he? It's kind of toned it a little bit.
Yeah. Toned it down. It doesn't have that plastic look to it.
Yeah.
But
Very nice.
But it has a nice sheen to it.
It does.
You know?
Okay.
But anyway, I don't know what else we can tell you folks other than what
Anybody
a
else?
good job we've done.
We're on it today.
Allie's the one that did all the hard work,
Yes.
and we appreciate it, Allie. Thanks.
So let's see. Well, let's grab that bag, Denny. Let's just kind of do a little side by side here. So this.
Yeah. And this will still lighten up a little bit because I got it pretty wet.
Yeah.
but you can see where it evened things out a whole lot.
And it probably won't ever get quite back that light.
No.
It'll still have a nice tone and texture to it, and then you're gonna saddle soap it a little bit and do some more stuff. So yeah,
I'll put the paste saddle soap on it.
paste.
Because the glycerin is just purely the saddle soap.
Right.
And the paste has a lot of lanolin in it, and it'll leave kind of a waxy, nice satin finish on it
For sure. Awesome.
and soften it up. But anyway, I don't know what else we can tell you.
I think that
Do
was
you?
no.
Allie, what do you have to say?
Gotta give us a word. Just one word today.
Just answer yes or no. Did you have fun today?
Can you say saddle soap is my friend?
She's got nothing. Poor thing.
She's a good
She'll
girl.
liven up after this.
Yeah, when this is over, she'll be talking.
All right, guys. Well, so
What do we want to do next week? So I threw out something that has been, people were excited about it, and maybe for Wednesday doing an adhesives video.
woo, that's gonna
We'll
be
have-
some prep.
Well, it may be a little bit noisier because we'll open the door so we can get a cross breeze through the
Yeah.
video studio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Clayton and I will probably get all that stuff together.
Then what are we doing on Friday, Danny?
Friday, we're gonna do some dyed background
Ooh.
on some tooling.
So we're not gonna filigree. We're gonna dye it.
Yeah, we're gonna dye this
Okay.
background.
Nice.
You know, you can antique and make the background a darker color, but you can dye the background a solid color
That's right.
and antique over that. More yet.
It just gets deeper.
Yeah.
Just keep going. Awesome. Okay. Well, we will see you next Wednesday, guys. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you, Allie.
Can you wave or anything? Nothing?
Say wave, Allie. Wave at us.
Look, we got. Can you do two hands? No, not. Just, that's fine.
Just a somber look.
I think we've jacked our jaws.